Hey guys, it's Sign here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another Helen of Wyndhorn review. Today we're looking at issue number 4. There was a printing issue with mine. The interior design for this book is actually for Dawn Runner. So like the interior page behind the cover is for Dawn Runner. It doesn't have the Helen of Wyndhorn one, which is crazy. It's kind of an odd thing to miss, but it happened. It's no big deal. It doesn't really affect the story, but it is, incorrect, right? So yeah, this was probably the best issue so far. I mean, I feel like I think that every time, but I really enjoyed this issue a lot. So issue number 4, team is the same: Tom King, Bill Casevely, Matthew Lopez, and Clayton Cowles. And it opens up with this amazing pinup of, Othan and Sarah, I think is her name, is a female character. Very reminiscent of like a Frazetta painting, right? Kind of like Conan, standing in front of the what's it called, the pile of bodies, right? Like that sort of thing, from the first Conan novel, right? From the first paperback, kind of that sort of idea. And it's really, really great. It looks awesome. And we show this pinup as a teen and this seller talk at this convention, right? And they talk about Othan comics and how, they're special and all of this, and they're old, and all of these sorts of things. And then the seller tells this kid, but I have something more special than that. I have these recordings of the biography author and his conversations with Lilith about the Cole family, right? About C.K. Cole and, Helen and Barnabas, right? As she tells the author guy about Helen. Then this is used to throw us back in time. So we get to see that Helen and her grandpa are going off on these adventures to the other world, right? They're going through this portal, kind of like Narnia. They're getting into this other world, which is very similar to, well, the Hyborian Age, I guess, or something more out of like Edgar Rice Burroughs novels, right? Something like a Earth's Core type thing, or maybe a Mars type situation, right? And it looks really, really awesome. We get this really nice kind of like this continuation of previous stories where we get to see them going through these adventures, right? When she's back on Earth, Helen chats with Lilith about it. She tells her about all of the awesome, cool things that she did. And Lilith, of course, gets kind of concerned about the stuff that she's told they do there, right? Because it's very unladylike and very dangerous, right? And we get to see that Lilith tells us that, the more often that they went on these adventures, the more that she noticed that Helen was slowly getting more and more bored by her real life, by the reality of Earth, right? And this is pretty similar to Narnia, I think it is, or maybe there's something else. I can't remember what it is, but there was like something from when I was a kid that had this concept that the more these people went to this other world, the less they cared about the real one, right? But I can't remember what it is. And she is distracted by her studies, so this is bad, right? One day, as they're eating dinner all together, Helen asks for training, and so Barnabas agrees. He thinks this is a good idea, and Joseph, his trusty squire, I guess, although he's a butler, but he has to have some sort of special ability to him, right? He has to be something more than just a butler, is charged with her teaching, right? And so this grueling training starts. She is forced to hang from trees and wait for the whole time that, they're asked of her. So sometimes they leave her overnight, that she just hangs from the tree. If she falls, she has to get back up and hang from it some more. And then there's these fights in the snow, and she grows in strength. She becomes more centered, more focused. And Lilith at this point is concerned because she doesn't like that Helen is putting herself in these dangerous situations. But she realizes that the more that Helen goes through these difficulties, the more her mind sharpens and focuses, and suddenly she's eating up all of the lectures that Helen is giving her. She is finding value in them for whatever reason, right? Whether it's because they're a nice distraction, or because her focus extends beyond her training, or whatever it may be. I'm not really sure, but she finally becomes good at her studies, and she becomes a good warrior. She turns out to be a great axe wielder. She has 2 small tomahawk type axes, very Viking-esque kind of imagery there. And she is finally ready. She's decked out in this awesome outfit that's very, very cool. And she then goes off to Barnabas, and Barnabas is like, okay, before we do this, I have one final test for her, or for you, and so Barnabas decides to fight her. And this fight is pretty awesome, very good. She gets sucker punched, but she eventually manages to do something. Barnabas beats her, but he is satisfied with her results, and so he decides to hug her, and they have this really nice moment of familial intimacy between them that was pretty good. I liked it a lot. And then disaster strikes after they go off on their adventure. Barnabas suddenly comes back one day with Helen in his arms, and she is gravely injured. Barnabas brings Helen to Joseph. Joseph heals her, and Lilith goes off. She gets really, really mad at this, but no one tells her what's going on, except that they don't need a doctor, that Joseph will handle it. And this starts a long healing process. Helen is very weak initially. She eventually gets better, and her and Lilith kind of bond over her couple lessons, right? Her getting better. Eventually, Barnabas leaves, and he doesn't come back until Helen is finally healed. When he does come back, he has the head of a Birdman in his hands, and this is because in kind of the moments when Helen was convalescing, we get to learn that the reason why she got hurt was because they were off on this mountain. I think they were fighting these birdmen, and she refers to them as like angel type beings, right? And these birdmen were very ferocious, and something happened while they were there that caused issues, and Helen was hurt. She's finally back to health. Barnabas brings the head to her, tells her, to take care of it, to mount it the way she likes. This character was some sort of god character, and the adventures are now over. Helen gets mad at this. She's like, what do you mean they're over? What's wrong? Why am I not allowed to do this anymore? He says something about her being weak, reminiscent to her dad, and she gets really mad, and she throws the head at Barnabas, and she, stalks off. And that's the ending here of the flashback. Then the boys have a conversation, the boys from the beginning of the story, and they chat about what they got from the convention, and also about C.K. Cole. And it kind of ends in a funny note where the other kid asks the guy that bought them, who the hell is C.K. Cole? It's very similar to the reaction many Conan fans have when you tell them, hey, Robert E. Howard wrote these stories, right? And I really like this aspect of the story. I would never say that, Tom King, in the interviews that I've seen of him, doesn't really strike me as a fan of these classic, pulpy creators, but somehow seems like he is, or at least knows enough about them, or knows people that know about them to give you a good representation of them, right? Because stuff like this feels very reminiscent of what I've been going through, or what I've seen as I've been going through this love for Robert E. Howard's work, right? That for this growth of interest in his work, right? Especially at Howard Days, right? So yeah, overall, very good stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's it for Helen of Wyndhorn number 4. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys next time.